Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's showcase event, Unleashing the Power of Women's Voices. My name is Abigail Rebecca Pugh. I am so excited to come here and be one of the hosts today for this very special event on behalf of Women Thrive. And what a fantastic lineup of speakers we have for you today. Every single month we come on to present this showcase, first of all, as a way to introduce you to the amazing speakers that we have speaking to you or who will be speaking to you on the Women Thrive Summit 2026, so next year. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers. We closed our doors the other day, so we've got a few more interviews to go, but actually we have nearly got full lineup of speakers, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're very proud of our speakers. So we want to be able to showcase our speakers to you, to introduce you to our speakers so you can get to know them and you can love them and follow them and support them as much as we do. But secondly, what we want to do is to be able to provide a platform to inspire you. Maybe you are thinking about being a speaker, maybe you're already a speaker, maybe you're an author, maybe you're a coach, a mentor, a teacher, a community builder, an online course creator. Maybe you were thinking about starting a business or you've started your business already. Maybe you were 5 years, 10 years into your business. Wherever you are within your career, within your business and within your life, it's always important to look to other people for inspiration to learn. You know, I always say that learning keeps us young. So when we can look to others for inspiration, maybe people that are a little bit further ahead on the journey than we are, or maybe people that are more have more expertise in an area that we want to learn about, then that helps us to be able to create and achieve and to be able to bring into fruition the dreams that we want to manifest in our lives and our business. So this is why we do the showcase. We are very, very excited to have you today. We are live streaming to all social media channels for Women Thrive. So please do come along and say hello. We'd love to see in the comments whereabouts you're joining us from and what you are most looking forward to learning about today. And also, we also encourage you to please support our wonderful speakers. They have prepared for today. They've got great insights to share with you. And you know, I always say that when you're speaking on a stage, wherever you're speaking on a stage, whether you're speaking like in a big venue and you can see everybody in the audience, or whether you're speaking online like we are today, you know, it's important that we receive the energy from you, that we receive the energy and the love from you, and then we can then throw that back to you. So we would love your support today. Now, you'll probably notice that a very important person is missing today. So normally when we come on and do these showcase events, I am on with my amazing co-host. Well, I'm her amazing co-host, actually, because Ramonda Jan, who is the founder of Women Thrive, will normally come on here and we will come on together and we will co-host this event. For those of you who are not aware, Ramonda's been pregnant for the last 9 months, and a few weeks ago she gave birth to her beautiful daughter Maya Rose. So we are sending lots of love and congratulations to Ramonda. She was actually here on the showcase this time last month, and I thought at one point she was actually going to give birth. I was preparing for that, and guess what? She waited another 2 days and then she went and had her little girl. So just sending lots of love and congratulations to Ramonda. She is spending some very, very well-earned time with her baby. I'm not going to say well-earned rest, because I'm sure that many of you will know what it's like caring for a young baby and another little girl as well. But we are sending lots of love to Ramonda. We miss you, we love you, and we please know that today the showcase is in safe hands, because I would love to introduce you to an amazing woman who is going to be coming and co-hosting on our showcase today. But first of all, what I want to do is show you one of the things that she is very much involved in within Women Thrive. So for those of you who have followed us for a while, you will know that we have our Women Thrive magazine, and our magazine comes out every single month, and we have an online version of the magazine. And so you can go over to womenthrivemagazine.com and you can go and check out the online version of our magazine. And if you wanted to be old school and very, very beautiful, you can also subscribe to receive the Women Thrive magazine through your door every single month. So we have subscribers all around the world. We are in lots of retail outlets and communal areas all around the world with the Women Thrive magazine. And this is a real work of love, because what we get to do within the magazine is we get to showcase all of our wonderful speakers and all of the wonderful women within our community. And this month we have our amazing 𝐏𝐨𝐬, who is actually on the front cover of our magazine, who is one of the amazing authors and speakers within our community. So there is a whole team, there's a whole lot of love behind this. And the reason that I wanted to share the magazine with you today is that, amongst other things, my wonderful co-host today is also the editor of the Women Thrive magazine. So I would love to invite onto the stage Tina 𝐏𝐸𝐬. Oh, hang on, I took you off there. Hi, Tina.
Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I've been having some internet issues, so if I'm a bit glitchy, I've been traveling, so I'm coming to you currently at my mum's house spare room. So I'm usually based in New Zealand, and I'm currently in Germany visiting family, and really excited that I'm in the same time zone to be here live with you and to be online with Abigail. And I've met a few of you yesterday on the speaker call, so I'm really excited to hear your showcase today. So thank you so much for allowing me to co-host.
Oh, Tina, thank you so much. You know, I reached out to Tina. I was like, I know it's really last minute, but could you co-host the showcase with me? Because of course, you know, we can all go on and do these things on our own, but it's so much more fun. And I was like, I really want Tina to come on and do it. So thank you for accepting the invitation. Tina, I'd love to, would you be able to introduce yourself a little bit to our audience and tell us a little bit about what you do within Women Thrive, but also in your own incredible business and work that you do?
I'd love that. My name is Tina 𝐏𝐸𝐬. I'm an embodiment coach. I'm a feminine business mentor. I'm all about women's voices and making sure everyone is heard and seen and fully out there, being, I call myself an unapologetic wild woman amongst many other things. So when Women Thrive came into my field, 3 years ago, there was an immediate pull, and I've been a speaker on the Women Thrive Summit in 2023, and the community was second to none, something I have not really experienced. And I stayed in afterwards. I've turned my talk title into a best-selling book afterwards. And now I'm very privileged to be looking after the magazine. Publishing has always been my first passion in writing. And it's a dream come true to work with women who really walk their talk. And we have such an amazing team, and being part of that is just really amazing. So I love working with all of you and love to see you all on the stage.
Tina, I love you. I love the work that you do. You're so inspirational. I love that you turned your talk into a book. Now there's an idea, and it's so expansive that you did that. I love that, you know, the fact that you repurposed that and you saw that opportunity. And look, as well as obviously I know the wonderful work that you do in your business and your work and with the clients that you work with, but in terms of the magazine, just huge congratulations. I mean, whenever I know when the magazine's going to come, right? It's like I feel it. I'm like, that's the magazine. And it's so exciting to be able to open it up and just look at the cover. And, you know, this is Angelina Badri, who's one of our summit speakers, who's based in Australia, who's going to be speaking on the summit next year. Obviously, we've spoken about 𝐏𝐸𝐬. And, you know, we have the most amazing women that are on the cover of this magazine, and it's just so beautifully done. So just huge congratulations for everything that you're creating with this magazine, Tina.
Thank you. It's really nice to be able to see it. There's so much excitement when the mail arrives from the UK in New Zealand, and I get to open it, and everything you've worked on the months prior, you get to see. And what I love about our magazine is that it does tell the real stories. You're not having ad after ad after ad and the superficial stuff. So there's real depth, and I think this is what makes us as a community so unique, because we can be vulnerable, and therein lies the power. And it's in my line of work, I see it all the time. As soon as you throw out all the cautionary things that you might have been given in your lifetime and you show up the way you meant to be, there's some magic that happens, because your audience can actually feel you and they really connect with you on a whole nother level.
Yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit more into that, actually, Tina, about really finding, a wonderful community to be able to connect in with. This is one of the magazine's covers that I show a lot, especially when I'm talking to someone who might be a potential speaker on our stage, or who wants to come into the community, in a different way, maybe as an author, or they want to be featured on the podcast, or maybe they want to come and speak at one of our live events, or maybe they even want to contribute to the magazine. And this photograph was taken in Miami at the beginning of the year. We did an in-person event in Miami, and it was taken on the steps of the town hall before we went and did our beautiful event. So this is a selection of just some of our wonderful authors and speakers. Some of them you might recognize actually on the cover. And I think that this represents the community so beautifully, because I always say that every single year we have different speakers, but even though we attract different women, and of course everyone's very different, the type of women that we bring into the community and we attract into the community are the same, because the culture of Women Thrive is very much around collaboration over competition. It's about really seeing the value and feeling into the opportunities when you get to collaborate with other women, when you can build those relationships, friendships. And of course, there are a lot of, I'm sure that you've been in communities as well, Tina. I certainly can speak from personal experience, where you might have thought that you were going into a community that actually was about empowering women and was about connection. But actually, it might not necessarily have been like that. And I was speaking to someone yesterday, actually, on a call, and she said that, she was in the community and she thought it would be a really supportive kind of community to build relationships with women, and actually she felt like she was back in the school playground. So there's a lot of that going on, I know, and my energy is precious, your energy is precious, our speakers' energy is precious. So I want to make sure that I'm in communities where I really feel supported, and where women have done the work to heal any kind of catchiness or competition or comparisonitis that we might have experienced in the past. And I wanted to ask you about that, Tina, because I know that you were a person who was very well positioned to speak into this, because that's a lot of the work that you do, isn't it, around healing the wounds that we can often carry, and one of those wounds obviously being a sister wound.
Yeah. It's one of my big rabbit holes, I call it, in my career, because I used to be one of those women that thought the bigger the titles, the more accolades you collected along the way, that's the way that how I can be more, I guess, superior. So there was a lot of ego around that. But when I was really starting to lift the lid and started working with other women as well, is that it does actually go back a couple of centuries, and I'm always wild, woo-woo, and wonderful. So I look at it a bit more holistically. And it's really fascinating, because if you look at, especially in corporate, which has been my career for 25 years, there are literally women who sit in corner offices in the same building on the same floor, and they actually do not communicate or even are even friendly with each other. They go into the elevator, they go in different directions, while the men tend to go, they have long lunches, they may play golf, I don't know, shoot bear, whatever they do. And we fail to actually communicate, because I think we judge ourselves so harshly. And I think if you step into a room of female executive, you have all this judgment coming at you sometimes, where you feel like they're looking you down from the top to bottom. What size is she? Is the hair done? All those little things. And it really can hold us back. And I had to I guess, own my own wounding in that respect, that the stories that were given to me, like you have to be superior, you have to look perfect to be able to be taken seriously, to have any value. I found it exhausting, and obviously my career ended in burnout and breakdown and a lot of health issues, including losing multiple pregnancies, and that was a wake-up call. And the more you actually share vulnerability in spaces, the more other women give themselves permission to go, oh, I actually am not okay. And I can actually say that, yeah, my business looks all shiny on Instagram, but behind the scenes, I haven't got my systems down, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about. And I think if we normalize this, we can all create bigger magic. And the Thrive community was such a beautiful, I guess, experience, because I've been in a lot of networking places, and a lot of you probably resonate, including you, where the minute you step in, everyone has got, oh, I'm the CEO of such and such, and I've got an MBA in this and all of this. And out of a sudden, here's what I have to sell, instead of, can we just feel the woman underneath all of this? Can we just connect? And this was so beautiful to get to learn other speakers, and we were, I guess, all walking each other home. No one was completely perfect in what they knew to talk about, and depending on where they were on the scale, we all helped one another. There was a camaraderie, and I call it applied sisterhood. And I think this is a new standard I would love to see in more boardrooms, and certainly more communities.
Oh, yeah, we need to. I'm just hearing you speak about this, and immediately being thrown back into corporate. I started my business like 9 years ago, and before that I had a successful corporate career. I remember someone speaking to me and going, you got like talking about the experiences as a female leader within corporate, and she was like, you can't let them find the chink in your armor, because if they find the chink in your armor, they'll take you down. And there's dozens and dozens of other women who are like vying for your spot. It's almost like, it's interesting what you say about it. I mean, it might not feel like this to men, but certainly the experience is that it does feel still that it's easier, that the dynamics, the definition of leadership, it makes it like feel easier for men than for women, and women are like constantly having to prove themselves, like you say. I do, but there's a huge part of me that truly believes that that's to do with our own perception, like in the way that we see ourselves, as well as obviously the environments that we're in. I was speaking to someone about this yesterday, Tina, about the way that I behaved when I was in corporate. So I was brought up, my father was a very, very loving, like he loved me, and he was a very, very kind man in his own way, but he was very old-fashioned, very Victorian in his thinking. And I was raised to be disempowered as a woman, to feel disempowered as a woman, to be subservient to men. And the messages that I had all the time was basically that, men are better than women, and, women don't work, and women don't do this, and women don't do that. And I rebelled against it and left when I was 16. But I didn't realize that I carried that in my subconscious into corporate. So when I was in corporate, I didn't actually like working for women. I didn't want to work for women. I didn't want a woman boss. I didn't particularly want women in my team. Now, I did have women in my team who were incredible, and I did have female bosses who were amazing. But to be honest with you, if you'd given me my best case scenario, I'd want to work with men, because I was like, well, men are better, easier to deal with, and you don't have all the emotional stuff. And I look back now at how I was thinking. I was like, that was my dad speaking. And it was only really when I left corporate, and then I joined women's circles, a lot of them with Australian women actually. And so I joined, and New Zealand women. So I joined women's circles, and within those circles, there was a lot of healing. And I realized that there was a lot of healing to be done around my own wounds, around, my role as a woman and divine feminine power, and, really like the removing the fear of the playground cattiness, I don't want to play with you because I don't like you anymore. And that feeling of rejection was just showing up so much. And it was incredibly healing, but very, very triggering for me. And then to be able to come into a community like Women Thrive is just a breath of fresh air, because, you can walk, you can say all the words, but actually you walking the talk, are you embodying it? And I do feel like within the Women Thrive community that it is embodied, because it's part of the culture.
It's refreshing, and I think that when it in itself is healing. For me, speaking in public or being center of attention was my biggest fear for as long as I can remember. And when I started speaking into my story, I realized that I had a service to other women who've gone through similar things. And I sometimes call myself a bit of a cautionary tale of what happens if you're constantly going against your feminine energy and live in this structure. My book title is called Corporate Rewilding, because if we return ourselves to our natural state and challenge some of the structures. And I think that's one thing that came out of the pandemic in particular. We're not just going to, I don't know, have a period and ruin someone's empire, or have to be in this office from 9 to 5 because that's where we need to function. If we were actually allowed to be mothers and be wives and have this flow of energy, and we would be actually a lot better performing, and I guess coming from a more aligned place, and still do or even better work, because we're allowed to honor those energetics that we have, which make us intrinsically female. I taught myself, harden up, and the higher you go, the thinner the air. And imperfection I viewed as being incompetent. So keeping up this mask is really, really difficult. And women's circles was one that cracked me wide open, because I had everything was so together. And then I remember sitting in this woman's circle, and they said, oh, you're all going to have to introduce yourself, but you're not using your title or what you do from work. And I remember going, oh my God, there goes the talking stick. I'm going to be next. I was rehearsing what I was going to say, because I didn't know who I was outside of this work environment I had created. And that was really triggering. And I think I learned to love my triggers, to be able to see, okay, well, maybe it's something I'm not being honest about or not going in. And if you show up that way, you're going to have others do the same. And I remember on speaker calls, there was tears, there was a lot of stuff that was shared that didn't make it into a talk, but because it's such a sisterhood in a true sense, I felt really heard, and a place where I could open up about some of those things. So to experience this from a more professional level was almost like a woman's circle, but in a completely different context. And a lot of my work and mission is to not have to take sides, so we can be spiritual and fully aligned, and yet professional and in corporate, and marry the two together. And I think this is the way forward in business and life.
Yeah, I completely agree. For me personally, my feet are firmly planted on this earth, and I have my corporate background, but then I really love the mystical elements of life. And I know that you just play so beautifully in that field. And yeah, you can have both. And that's the quote of the summit, by the way. Can I just say, you're not gonna have a period and ruin someone's empire. That's so good. I do feel, this is my personal point of view, and obviously I share this with my clients as well. I feel that I have a duty of care to be able to deal with my own wounds, and so that I can show up as the leader that I want to be, so that I can lead my community, so that I can lead myself, so that I can lead other women through transition and change. This world needs the female energy as well as the male energy, and there has definitely been an imbalance, and we need more female leaders to show up, not trying to emulate men, but being themselves, accepting themselves, and bringing their own zone of genius when it comes to leadership. I feel that leadership, especially in corporate. I don't know about your experiences, Tina, but definitely my experiences, it kind of lends itself more to the male energy, which obviously we all have, and which is amazing because it's about driving things forward and about, holding space, but also you need that beautiful, like, nurturing and receiving. You need to be able to receive as well as give. So for me personally, I'm on a mission. This is my mission. My mission is to take that talking stick. I forgot about the talking stick. I'm like, oh, the talking stick's coming. To take that talking stick and hold it, and however difficult it might feel. We always say to our speakers and our women in our communities, like, don't leave. Stay in the room. Stay in the room. If you're in hot yoga and it gets too hot, don't leave the room. You stay in the room. And it's the same if the conversation becomes uncomfortable because it is shining a light and acting as a mirror to your own trauma, your own wounds, your own limiting beliefs. Stay in the room, because that if you run away, you're never going to be able to heal.
It is beautiful. One of my favorite quotes is, "We're all just here to walk each other home." And I think this is a beautiful way to wrap where our speakers are on their way, because we have ones, and I remember feeling the same when I first looked around the room going, oh my goodness, I don't have my stuff together. All these other speakers, they've looked so professional and they've got all the collateral and the branding on point. For me, it really was an evolution. And once I leaned into that, I have had so much growth by just looking at those women ahead of me to going, wow, one day I will be there. But then I also became the one where now women who are 2 steps behind me look up to me to go, wow, she's come so far. And we all the same. And it's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just a beautiful curve to go, we're all going in the same direction, but at our own pace, with the support of those ahead of us and the admiration of those who go, wow, they're inspiring to be me. And that's very humbling, considering looking at your own journey. And I think this is what I love so much about having speakers from all different topics and walks of life, and obviously different parts of the world, and all have the same mission to do different and to be stronger than they were yesterday, and making the world a better place, as much as that sounds like a cliche, but to be strong together, because we do need this, I think, more than ever before in this current time.
Absolutely. It's such a wonderful way to start our showcase, and the conversation will continue. We're going to move on to some of our amazing speakers now, but Tina, I know that you're going to be coming. Well, we're co-hosting it together anyway, so we're going to be going back and forth and carrying on this conversation a little bit further on in our showcase today. And I just want to encourage all of you that are watching. There's quite a lot of you that are watching. What are your thoughts about this? Please join the conversation. Just because we can't see you doesn't mean that we can't feel you, can't feel your energy and see your comments. So we'd really love to know, first of all, where you're joining us from, what your insights are, what your experiences are with this. What do you feel that you need to heal? Myself and Tina have both shared very candidly some of the things that we have healed and continue to heal, challenges that we need to overcome to be able to step into our leadership and to do the work that is our purpose while we're here on earth. So Tina, shall we introduce some speakers?
You can. I'll let you take the lead, because I had to MacGyver something with my current layout, so I'm not as prepared as you are. So I'll leave that to you.
I am gonna take the reins. Thank you so much, Tina. Thank you for starting off this showcase with a bang. So again, I just want to encourage you to come in on the comments and share your insights, share your aha moments, and of course, while our speakers are speaking, please share the things that are really resonating with you, because it helps. Honestly, it helps tremendously when our speakers are coming on, that they know that they are making a difference. That's the reason that they're speaking, to be able to inspire you and to be able to support you with your next level, whatever that might be. I want to say a big hello to Ramonda Jan, the founder of Women Thrive, who is watching us today. So I wanted to say hello to her as well. It's great to have you here. It's great to have everyone here. Okay, we are going to be moving on to our first amazing speaker, who is actually joining us early hours of the morning. I can't believe it. We've got quite a lot of US-based speakers actually on our showcase this morning, but it's very, very early for her. So I'd love to welcome onto the stage Dana Ashford. Dana is a social emotional learning specialist and creator of the You Project, and she has over 25 years of experience in education. Dana is a dedicated specialist in social emotional learning and trauma-informed practices. Through workshops, speaking engagements, and direct mentorship, Dana inspires others to step into their truth, build emotional resilience, and live with purpose. Welcome to the stage today, Dana.
Hi, thank you so much.
Dana, what time is it there? We do need to address this.
It's about 2:30 a.m. here.
Wow. Well, we appreciate you joining us. I'm very, very excited to hear your talk. Please take it away.
All right. Well, hello there and good morning from the early morning hours here. I'm in Colorado in the United States. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm going to continue the talk with the power of the voice. And one of the things, being a social emotional learning specialist, is that I'm a perspective taking expert. And today I would like to tell you a story. I'm going to address the diminished self. And if you think about that, it's a pretty broad topic, but we're gonna break it down so that we understand it better. Here's my story. Once there was a girl named Dana. She wasn't born quiet. In fact, she was once full of color and curiosity. Her words used to tumble out like small stones that were bright, polished, and glimmering with her own thoughts. And people used to listen, or she thought they did anyways. But over time, little things began to happen. A sigh when she spoke, a glance at a phone when she started to share her ideas, a laugh not with her, but at her. None of it seemed much at first, just small dismissals, like a single grain of sand, but day after day, the sand collected. And without noticing, Dana was sinking. Each ignored word, each subtle cut was another weight on her chest. She began to doubt herself. Did I say it wrong? Was I stupid to even say? Why do I even bother? Her voice grew quieter, not because she wanted it to, but because she felt that it was pointless. Her words no longer felt like polished stones, but like pebbles tossed into a void. She started to feel invisible. And then came the shaming. Soft, disguised as feedback or just joking. But it burned just the same. She began to believe the narrative. I must be the problem. I must be too much or not enough. I must be unlovable. These questions became a loop in her head. What did I do? Why can't I do anything right? Why can't I do enough? And why am I not lovable? This wasn't just sadness, it was erosion. The slow wearing away of the self. 1,000 tiny scratches until one day she looked in that mirror and disappointment was normal. It's a heartache filling that empty space where self-worth once lived. And yet, even in that dim place, a small truth remained. this state wasn't her fault. It never had been. The diminished self isn't who you are. It's what happens to you. And sometimes just naming it out loud, I feel diminished, is the first flicker of light back toward who you were before the chipping began. So with my story, the diminished self is nothing that should ever be taken lightly. In fact, its impact can be so significant that one may not even know who they are anymore. They might look in the mirror and they're only living in a survival state, just surviving, not having joy, not having love, but just surviving. They literally don't hear their voice anymore because it's been diminished. They don't believe in it. They're scared to voice. They're scared to think or to have an opinion, all of which are human basic rights and needs. We all have a need to connect and share our ideas and have a voice and be seen, heard, and accepted. And when the diminished self is chipping away at you little by little and the erosion starts happening, you start losing that for yourself and you don't believe it anymore. It's toxic stress. And, I remember feeling ashamed when it happened to me, okay? And it's really hard to come out of, but we can do it. And the 𝐕Project.info helps do that.
Thank you, Dana.
Uh-huh.
That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
Sometimes, when you're sharing something so vulnerably about things that you've been through and things that you felt, there is a beauty about it because you're really opening yourself up, and we were just talking before about putting on the masks, like pretending that everything's okay. But actually the beauty is when we can crack ourselves open in that way, as human beings.
Yeah.
And you were talking there about, you say toxic stress?
Yeah.
I've never heard it called that before. And that really, really resonates.
Yeah. So toxic stress is anything that's a constant thing in your life coming in and causing you to question. So causing you to question your voice, your opinions. You're afraid to speak because it's stressful. The punishment of giving your opinion is far greater than giving it. And that's how you know it's toxic stress, because you no longer feel, you worry more about the outcome of, well, what if I don't say it right? Or that was a stupid thing to say. You worry more about that and what others will think than what you want to say or what you think.
Yeah. So that's where this self-judgment comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Dana, what would you say to anyone that's watching this today and can really resonate with what you were just sharing there and feels the same way? What would you say to someone like that?
I would say the first step is really the awareness piece and being honest with yourself. So it's really hard to say, I allowed this to happen, because in a way you do, but it's also not your fault. And it's also something that happens. And I feel like people that are really kind and empathetic, it can happen quickly and you don't even know. So it's an accumulation of things. You always give people, the second chance, or you're a people pleaser type of thing. So becoming aware of what you need to heal in that way, and maybe why aren't you feeling like you can voice your opinion? What is stepping in front of you that's causing that to happen? You really have to be vulnerable with yourself and honest, and it's hard, but that's part of the courage. It's part of the courage of moving past it. And once you do, it is amazing. You feel like yourself again. You literally dig yourself out of this crater that you fell in, and you didn't even know you fell and hit the bottom until you look up and it's so far away.
Yeah. Dana, We're so glad that you found the courage and that you're with us in this wonderful community. You're going to be speaking on the Women Thrive Summit in next year, in 2026, March 2026. But obviously that's a way off, and we want people to find you and follow you and connect with you now. So where's the best place for people to find you, Dana?
So my website is www.theuproject.info, and that's where you can book to have me come speak to your group about this topic. Large groups, small groups, and all of that good stuff. And then also on Facebook, Dana Marie. And I have a lot of things on there too, inspirational things that go alongside with this.
Wonderful. Dana, thank you so much. Well, first of all, thank you so much for getting up very, very early of the morning where you are. And thank you for just coming and sharing your beautiful gifts and your point of view and the way that you help your clients navigate life. We're very grateful to have you in the community. Wonderful to see you.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you, Dana. So we are starting off our showcase with a bang. That was the wonderful Dana Ashford. Please make sure that you go and follow her, connect with her. And of course, if anything she shared with you today resonated with you, then you know where to go and find her. We'd love to see whereabouts in the world you were joining us from. We have a global community, as Tina and I were talking about, the community at Women Thrive. We're very proud of the fact that we have women from all around the world, different backgrounds, different cultures, different ages, different stages within their career, lots of different women that are joining us around the world. And we love to see where you're joining us from, and also what your insights are today from our wonderful speakers. So we are going to move on. So we've just come from, this is the global reach of Women Thrive. We've just come from America, and now we're going to go right round to Australia, where I'm going to introduce our next speaker. Her name is Louisa Hogan, and she is a leadership resilience strategist. She's an author, and she is a founder of 2 amazing businesses, which I know that she's going to speak to us about. She has got experiences, lots of corporate background experience actually, as COO, CDO, CEO, and senior leader across multiple sectors. Louisa has spent her career guiding executives and entrepreneurs through complex change while helping them build resilience and sustainable success. She delivers practical, science-based tools that help people steady themselves under pressure and lead with lasting strength. Louisa, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Hello, so good to see you.
Welcome on stage. How is it there today in Australia? We've gone from like 2 o'clock in the morning until evening time, right?
Yeah, it's just before dinner time, and it's beautiful and sunny, and our summer weather is starting to kick in, which I'm very excited about. And we're in the perfect time of year where it's not too hot and not cold. So I'm very, very pleased for this time of year. It's my favorite time of year.
Wonderful. It's good to hear. It's lovely to see you, Lou. Please take it away.
Lovely to see you. Abby, I was really happy with the conversation you were having with Tina, because I want to share a story that I haven't shared with many people, and I don't share very often. And that is, when I was 9 years old, I joined a dance drill or drum majorette team. And that's 50 girls in a team doing high energy dance and drill routines on a field for 15 minutes and competing in that. And I did that with 2 teams from when I was 9 years old up until I was 18 years old. And we had the same coach. His name was Alan. And those teams were multiple times national champions. And by the time I was 14, I represented my country in the World Championships in Japan. And I'm so proud to have this wonderful green blazer that you would find on Olympic athletes walking along at the Olympic opening ceremonies. Now, my coach, Alan, we respected him immensely. He was well respected in the field. And he was also an ex-Army drill instructor. Now, to say that he was exacting in his standards for our teams is an understatement. He trained us like we were army recruits. So we worked 3 days a week after school until 6 p.m. We trained school holidays from 9 a.m. in the morning until 6 p.m. We competed every single Saturday from 7 in the morning until 9 p.m. And Alan expected perfection from us at that training and at the competition alike all the time. He drilled us really hard. And we absolutely adored him, but we also feared him, because when he applauded us, we knew that we were on the right track. But if he didn't applaud us, we knew that we were in big trouble. And he would shout and swear and carry on, and often single some of us out and shame us in front of the team to tell us what we had done wrong. And so, you know, we started to fear if he didn't applaud us. And his motto was, second place is the first place to lose. There was absolutely no room for failure. So while I am extremely proud of the skills that experience gave me, I'm extremely driven. I'm not afraid of hard work. I have excellent leadership skills because I had to lead other girls who are younger than me as I progressed through that journey. And I'm very driven. It also gave this shadow side to me that I didn't know I had until I started my own business 9 years ago. Because what I had learned was to measure my worth through the approval of others. And I also learned to fear failing in front of others. Now, I wasn't afraid of failing in itself. I don't mind failing. What I was afraid of was failing in front of others, because I was worried what others would think of me and that I wasn't perfect. And that's why I loved your conversation with Tina, Abby. And I was unfairly projecting that voice from Alan onto others around me. Now, many of us have Alan's voice inside of our heads, especially in our leadership journeys or in entrepreneurial journeys. And that voice is telling us to perform perfectly, to overperform. And that perfection is often unattainable because we keep raising the bar. And not only is it incredibly exhausting, but it's also incredibly lonely, because you can't share your hardships with anyone. Because if you share your hardships, what will they think about you? What will they say about you not being this perfect image? And then the biggest pain out of all of that is actually the loss of identity when you do fail. Because if you fail, who are you anymore? Because you're not this perfect image that you've put out. So there's this huge loss of identity. So whose voice is loudest inside your head, in your leadership journey or in your entrepreneurial journey? Is it your voice or somebody else's? So here's what I've learned about leadership resilience since then, and what I do about that voice that I have inside of my head. That isn't mine, that's Alan's. And the first thing I do is, when I fail or fall short, I ask myself, instead of asking myself, what do other people think? I ask, what do I know now that I didn't know before? Because failure can become wisdom. And the second thing I do, and what you can do, is notice whose voice it is that's inside your head. So for me, it's Alan. Who's the voice in yours? Maybe Alan and the voice in your head could meet. And ask yourself, what is that voice protecting? Is it fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of loss of control? And then lastly, what you can do is re-author that voice by asking, what will my voice say if my voice can be trusted? And then ask your voice to respond to that other voice in your mind, because that shift changed me. It can absolutely change you. And your voice deserves to be the loudest voice in your story. So if you're ready to rise above all of that noise and not be stronger, but be steady, join me at the Women Thrive Summit next year in 2026. You can find me on social media on LinkedIn under Louisa Hogan. And from there, you can find all of my LinkedIn, all of my social media links. And just remember that you don't have to fear failure when you've learned how to rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that you shared that story.
Yeah, I know I've shared it with you and the other women on Thrive. And I thought, oh no, I have to share it more widely, because I think, and because when I shared it with all of the women, everyone was like, I have an Alan in my head. And I thought so many people do. And people I've coached, I've never called it Alan to them because I've never really admitted the story to everyone. But I see those voices that we have, that people listen to over their own voices. And it's just so important that people recognize that, because sometimes what's holding you back is not you. It's, you think it's you, and it's actually somebody else who came into your head many years ago that you've carried with you for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I witnessed the conversation that followed that. So on when you shared it within the community, and everyone was like, "Tell Alan to do one," and you know, Alan, but it really resonated because you know, I'm sure that everyone can resonate at some point, and continuing now, you know, and it's such a, like, you've actually named it after a real person, but even if it's just a voice that's coming in your head that you can actually then name and just be like, okay, thank you, now go away, like, this is my voice. And it's so powerful, isn't it, when you can hand someone back that power, like just hand it back to them. It's like, it's not mine, I didn't ask for it, I'm going to give it back to you. And how amazing is it that you did that? How did that feel when you were able to kind of just give that back?
Do you know, it was a real aha moment for me, because I had to really drill down into my head around where was this fear coming from, because I sensed that I had fear, but I never understood what that fear was. And it was actually a relief when I realized where it was coming from. It was this real sense of like, oh, that's what it is. Because when I recognized what it was, suddenly it just felt like, that's not me. I'm not broken. I know what that is. And now I can control that. And now I can fix that. You know, it's funny. I've coached a lawyer, and she does this thing, and I loved it. She came up with it, and she said, her voice, she takes it to court and has like a court, she drills it through like a court session and questions it like she's a lawyer. And that's how she like tackles that inner voice in her head. And I absolutely love that analogy, because when you realize that those thoughts aren't facts, they're just entering your head and it's actually not you, it's just this relief. You feel a real sense of relief. And now that you can control that and say, no, thank you.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So instead of just accepting that it's fact, actually question it. I love to do that with fears. And, you know, so if I'm scared of doing something because, you know, I'm scared of investing in something because I might, you know, lose my house, right? That extreme, that's where my mind goes to. And then I'm like, yeah, but is that actually going to happen? Has that ever happened? Like, really, you know, seriously, what's the likelihood that it's going to happen? And when you can actually approach it like that, because it is very often our fears are completely unreasonable. They're not based in fact. They're just based on, you know, fear. It's never happened. So I really love that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always say, say your fears out loud, because when you hear it spoken out loud, sometimes they sound more ridiculous than when you're just churning it in your head. You know, speak that fear out loud and you're like, actually, that does not sound like a reasonable thought.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing Alan with us.
No worries. Thank you. See you, Alan.
Now. Alan's not invited next month.
No.
Louisa, remind us again, please, where we can find you, website, LinkedIn, etc.
Yeah. So Louisa Hogan is LinkedIn. I've got two websites, my consulting and coaching practice as Vermelho, vermelho.com.au. And my e-commerce business is whisperandthread.com.au, all about changing self-talk. Go take a peek at it and you might be surprised how we're tackling self-talk with that business. I've co-founded that with my sister. So I'll leave that for you to find.
Yes. Go and find it and find out for yourself, because it is amazing. We love it so much.
Thank you.
Louisa, thank you so much for coming and sharing your beautiful wisdom, your incredible leadership, and your points of view on negative self-talk and how you can mitigate that and absolutely overcome it. And we're so excited to have you as part of the community. Love to see you on the calls, love to see you in the community, and can't wait to see your talk on the Women Thrive Summit in March 2026. Thank you so much, Lou. Thank you. So that was Louisa Hogan. Please go and check her out. Connect with her on LinkedIn, and yeah, go and look at her products and see if it piques your interest. I think it will do. So that is another amazing speaker that we have speaking on the Women Thrive Summit 2026, and we would love to have you there. So we are going to be opening our doors very soon to be able, in fact, no, we've opened our doors now to be able to join us actually to watch the summit in March 2026. So we're going to put the link in here for that, and you can always go over to our website, womenthrivemedia.com. You can go to womenthrivesummit.com and actually go and reserve your spot on there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and I'm going to find that link and I'm going to put it in the comments instead of me actually speaking it out loud, so that you can go and click on that and go on it. That will be a lot easier. Okay, who is ready for our next speaker? Please put some comments in the chat. We want to see you, we want to hear you, we want to know where you're joining us from and what you are gaining from all of our wonderful speakers and their insights today. So our next speaker joins us from sunny Portugal. Her name is Marielle Speetjens. She is a midlife reinvention and confidence coach and the founder of Mind Breeze by M. Say yes to life again. She helps women in midlife rebuild confidence, realign with what matters, and design a next chapter they're excited to say yes to. Through her 5C method, so that's courage, confidence, clarity, commitment, celebration, she pairs straight talk coaching with practical habits and micro promises that last. Marielle, it's wonderful to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here, Abigail. Thank you.
So you're based in Portugal. So we've gone from USA, we've gone over to Australia, and now we're in Portugal.
Yeah, across the ocean.
Right across the ocean. Well, we are looking forward to hearing your talk today. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's very amazing to be here today and to hear women talk about their perspective on, how to unleash voices. So my story is not very different. It has the same subject, same topic. It's just from my perspective. And it's interesting to hear all these different perspectives who are kind of resulting in kind of the same outcome. So let me tell your story. Let me tell my story to you today. And I would like to start with a question. So did you ever ask yourself, who stole your voice? Who stole your voice? Was it a parent that taught you to be good and quiet? Was it a grandma who said to you, you're really not good at anything, are you? Or a partner who made you smaller bit by bit? Maybe a workplace that rewards compliance over trust? Or was it a moment so heavy it silenced you more than you realized? So during one of the many transformations I walked through, someone asked me this question, and the answer landed immediately, crystal clear. My voice was stolen the day a doctor said, no brain activity, and told us they would turn off the machines. And my daughter took her last breath in my arms. After that all blurred, my whole world narrowed down to my son, and not long after, the baby in my belly. Thank God for both of them. They made me want to live and take care of myself. And the blurriness came with a companion. guilt with a big capital G. She was a baby. Mistakes were made. And I, her mother, had not been able to protect her. I knew something was wrong, but I let the white coats talk me out of my knowing. Don't compare twin babies, especially if they're a boy and a girl, they said. It changed the trajectory of my life. We took her brother, moved countries, and started living on a boat in Dubai called the Free Spirit. The boat became my sanctuary. I was blessed with 2 more babies, 2 more kids, and for years I ran logistics like a champion. Trauma, sorrow, guilt kept echoing. But 3 little kids will keep you moving, and moving is important. Family first, second, and third became my identity. We built a beautiful life, off-grid, lots of travel, long European summers when Dubai got too hot. We homeschooled for 7 years to protect our freedom, our time, our rhythm, and our rules. And we moved again to Portugal this time. From boat to house, from homeschooling to big building school. Together with our freedom, my identity flew out of the window again. And I had no idea what my next step was going to be. So I was looking to build my new identity. I trained for half Ironman to have a goal. I became president of an international swim team for community and purpose. I qualified as a referee to lead big swim competitions. That awakened the leadership and the confidence in me. And you can imagine that there was a lot of action in my house with 3 teenagers, and life was good. But then COVID and menopause came, and they arrived at the same time. That was tricky, to say the least. But the hardest part came later, the empty nest. The emptiness was real and painful. Purpose faded again with the kids leaving and all their activities and everything I was doing at the time. And slowly I turned into a content, middle-aged woman who walked the dog and worked in the garden. Quiet, convenient, comfortable. I honestly thought that this was my last chapter of life. I felt stuck, too late, behind, with nothing new to say. Until one day, and now comes the good part. I was so fed up with myself. I woke up and I told myself, this cannot be the plan. This is not me. And I made a very quiet promise to myself to say yes to life again. Now, maybe that sounds silly, but saying yes to life, saying yes can make a big difference. Things started changing almost instantly. And that's why I want to share with you what I did. Simple, 0 glitter. So here we go. 1, decision. My yes was to invitations, new ideas, spontaneous plans, learning something new, and anything that smelled like fun and joy. It was also a no to things that drained me, and those no's became my biggest yes to myself. 2, declaration. I told my husband, I told my kids, I told my inner circle. I wanted it to become real, and witnesses matter. This is a very important point because I hear from people that if they don't speak it out loud, they're not going to commit fully. 3, dedication to my body. I protected my sleep, I worked out consistently, and adjusted my diet to the woman I am now, not the woman I used to be, which is also important after menopause, as a lot of you women know. And a strong body creates a strong mind. 4, dedication to my mind. Making my mind stronger by taking care of my body. I even improved that by starting to do yoga, breath work, meditation consistently, but also, most of all, reframing the limiting beliefs that held me back. 5, direction. I started working with a coach, and I made a long-term, a year commitment with a coach to help me design my next chapter and help hold me accountable. So what happened after? My energy rose through the roof. My mood lifted. Clarity arrived. Purpose started showing up again. I started my coaching business that I left 20 years ago, and I feel more fulfilled than I have been in many years. Doors opened that I never thought even were possible before, including being here today. So ask yourself, who stole your voice? Maybe nobody. Maybe you didn't lose it. Maybe you just parked it wisely to survive. And here's my challenge for you today. Find your voice and share it. And if your voice only inspires one person in the room, it'll be worth it. My name is Marielle. I'm the founder of Mindbreeze by M. My website is mindbreeze.ae. And if my story resonates with you, take a look. Thank you very, very much for listening.
Marielle, thank you so much for sharing. It's such a powerful story, and I just really want to honor your courage in sharing that, because as painful a journey as it was for you, it's also a way that you can open the experience for other people that might be going through a similar situation, or has felt before in the past, or is feeling in the past, or is feeling in the present the way that you felt, and the experiences that you went through. There's really powerful shares there about how you can deal with those challenges, with those emotions, with just the turmoil. I can't even imagine what you went through, and just, as always, just sending you a massive virtual hug and just commending your courage and your bravery and your leadership. And how amazing that you have now said yes, a big yes to yourself and your purpose, and you have reopened your coaching business, and you're able to use your insights and your experience to be able to help others through. So thank you so much for sharing.
You're very welcome.
What do you feel has been the biggest lesson for you in all of this?
I think the biggest lesson is that, often as a woman, you dedicate your life to everybody else but yourself. And with me, that was enforced more because of what happened. It was just my family was the most important thing. And I didn't listen to my inner voice anymore, because, it was the outside that determined what I was going to do, what I was going to think, where I was going to be. And I think going through menopause and, starting my nest starting to become empty made me realize, like so many women, for different reasons, they can have another story. But at that age, you realize that, my God, I've been so busy looking after everybody. But who am I? What does my inner voice say? And that's what the saying yes to myself helped me figure out again. And I reinvented the person that I once was, not just a mother and a driver and a cook and, all these different hats that we carry. And I feel like I found myself again. Not saying that I wasn't anybody in the meantime, but the Marielle that I once was, I reinvented it. And now I do and feel so fulfilled to being of service to other women who want to find their own voice again as well.
Yeah. And I really feel that, like, it just comes out of you, like without you even having to speak, like that intention, that purpose, it just, it like a light, it comes shining out. So I am really excited. I am personally, we are Women Thrive, so excited to see where this goes. Oh, just really.
Me too. Me too. I'll go with the flow. I trust the process. I'm super excited. I'm learning and giving and, you know, going to bed fulfilled, which is the best. The best.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. So I know that you shared, Marielle, where people can find you, but please can you just remind us all again so we can go and connect with you?
Yeah, I have a small website. It's mindbreeze.ae. I'm on Facebook, where I share some of my stories under my name, Marielle 𝐕𝐨𝐬𝐞𝐬. I am on Instagram and on LinkedIn as well. So you want to know more about me and how I work? Take a look.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marielle. We are so grateful to have you in the community, and yeah, can't wait to see your talk and the summit in March next year.
Thank you, Abigail.
Thank you. Okay, so that was the wonderful Marielle. Again, with all of our speakers, please make sure that you go and find her, connect with her, follow her, let her know what came out for you with her talk. That was a very vulnerable share, but it's an important story to hear, especially for those of you who might be going through similar circumstances, to know that you're not alone. And actually, most importantly, you can find your way through to be able to create happier experiences for yourself. So just very quickly, before we move on to our next speaker, I see her in the green room. I'm very excited to share her with you. I mentioned earlier on that the doors are now open to be able to come and join us on the Women Thrive Summit, to come and watch our wonderful speakers. So if you like what you've heard so far, if you like what you've seen so far, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Every single year, the third week in March, intentionally, 2 weeks after International Women's Day, to celebrate wonderful women, we hold our Women Thrive Summit. This is going to be our 6th summit next year. And we are so excited to be able to introduce you to all of the speakers really on these showcases that happen every single month leading up to the summit. So you can go ahead if you want to, and you can now reserve your spot on the Women Thrive Summit. It's completely free of charge to join, to come and watch, and to be with us on March 16th to the 20th. I'm going to put the link now in the comments so that you can see that. So if you go onto that link, that will take you onto the Women Thrive Summit website, and if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a gorgeous photo of Ramonda there, looking gorgeous. And if you look to the left hand side of Ramonda's picture, there is a big orange button that says save your seat, and you can go on there and you can put your name down to attend and come and watch all of our wonderful talks. I guarantee you will be inspired, and I also guarantee that you are going to meet some amazing women. In fact, some of our speakers that are going to be speaking on the summit next year actually came and attended our summit this year, and was so moved and so inspired by our speakers that they decided that they wanted to come and be a speaker next year. So you never know the opportunities that this will lead to. So I'm going to introduce you to our next speaker, and then after our next speaker, I'm going to be bringing Tina back on for another little conversation, or a little conversation, a big conversation. It's always big conversations when Tina and I have a chat. But first of all, I am very, very excited to introduce you to our next amazing speaker. We are whizzing over the world again, back to the USA. So her name is Angel Dash. Angel is a flame keeper and sacred brand alchemist who helps soul-led visionaries Thought leaders and heart-centered powerhouses become seen, trusted, and aligned with their true voice. She's the creator of the trauma-informed bold method, and author of the upcoming book Serpent and Strategy, The Flamekeeper's Path of Reclamation. A disabled veteran and spiritual entrepreneur, Angel is known for turning visibility into ceremony, helping clients alchemize their story into a brand that moves like fire. Angel, welcome.
Thank you, Abby. I'm so happy to be here. It is early in the morning on my time, but I'm so glad to be here.
I know. What time is it there, Angel?
It's 3:15 in the morning.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for showing up, for sharing your light. I always love to hear you speak. Over to you, and then I'll come on afterwards and we can have a little chat.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Abby. What if grief isn't the opposite of love, but an echo of it? What if every tear you've ever cried was proof you lived boldly enough to love something real? Grief has a way of rearranging everything. Your plans, your pace, your priorities. It sneaks into your lungs, your language, your silence. Last week, I said goodbye to my soul dog, Nala. And as the world got quieter, I realized the fire that once lived outside of me is now asking to come and live within me. That's the thing about loss. It doesn't take the light away. It asks you to become it. I've walked with grief for a long time. In 2021, I lost my platonic soulmate, someone who saw me before I ever did. That kind of love leaves fingerprints on your soul. When it's gone, you start questioning everything. The meaning of time, of work, of religion, of everything that you have ever known, your roots, your foundation, of why we hide the most human parts of ourselves just to be seen as professional. But here's what I've learned. You can't build an authentic life while pretending you're untouched by loss. You can't light the way for others if you keep dimming your truth to be more palatable. Visibility, the kind that heals, isn't just about being seen. It's about being felt, because you never know who's standing in their own dark hallway, waiting for your voice to guide them out. In my world, we call this being a flame keeper. Flame keepers don't just show up because it's easy. We show up because we remember what it felt like to be lost in the dark. We carry our torches, not to outshine others, but to remind them that they have their own. Every story you hide becomes a room where someone else stays trapped. Every truth you tell becomes a door they can finally walk through. That's the heart of my bold method. Build from truth, own your story, light your message, deliver with love and presence. Because visibility it's not about performance. It isn't about performance. It's the practice of remembrance. It's standing up. It's getting to where you want to be, even when your boots are shaking. It's the courage to stand up and say, I am still here and my light still matters. I'd like to invite you to close your eyes for a second. Soften your gaze if you can. If you're driving, don't do that. But think of a person, a pet, or a version of yourself that you've lost, and whisper this softly. I carry you in my fire. Because flame keepers don't leave behind what shaped them. We integrate it. We let our grief become the color of our flame. That's what it means to lead with humanity, to let the light and the loss coexist. If this speaks to something deep inside you, I'd like to invite you to join me in March at the Women Thrive Summit for my talk, Burn the Box. Because this grief, love, remembrance, this is where reclamation begins. And before you burn the box, you have to honor what built you before you can rise. You have to feel what fell away. The fire isn't here to burn you. It's here to reveal you. Keep showing up, keep shining, because someone out there is still in the dark and they're waiting for your light to reach them.
Okay, I'm trying not to cry. Oh, Angel. Oh, honestly, what you
You're
all
going to
do
make me cry.
what you all doing to me today. Angel, just first and foremost, just thank you for being you and really practicing what you talk about. You know, the fact that when sometimes we share things and we tell our story, and those stories can be so uncomfortable. You know, yourself and Marielle have just been such an incredible example of that. Yeah. And what you talk about, the fact that, you know, if we hide part of ourselves, then other people won't be, you know, we're not going to be there. We're not going to be there to be able to guide and lead other people. It's just a beautiful message. And thank you for being a shining example. And you said that it was going to be hard for you today with your talk. And I can see why. First of all, we're just sending you lots and lots of love. And thank you for coming and sharing that.
Thank you. I felt the need to share that because there's been so many times that I have hid my grief. I have, you know, put it in my backpack, if you will, or buried it deep. And I just keep soldiering on. I keep moving on. I keep putting one step in front of the other, but I never took the time to heal. I never took the time to grieve. And I realized with the loss of Nala that I didn't fully grieve my platonic love, right? She was my best friend. We were soul sisters, and I call her my platonic soulmate. And I never got a chance to fully embrace the grief and the light that she brought into my life. And so with Nala's passing, that really kind of opened me up again and allowed me to realize that even though my world around me is quieter, my fire still burns bright. So,
yeah. A beautiful gift from Nala to give you access to be able to feel that grief and put your way through it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. Angel, I love what you said about your fire doesn't burn you, it reveals. So it's just such a great message.
Yeah.
Angel, tell us a little bit about your talk on the summit in March. What do we expect from that?
So it's kind of bits and pieces of the showcase itself. Every showcase that I'm doing is a little bit of what is going to be included in my Burn the Box talk. And it's about showing up as you, but in a spiritually, but also fully welcoming and loving yourself kind of way. I talk about being bold. I talk about being visible. I talk about the hard things that we have each had to go through in our own way, in our own stories. And I bring to light that is what makes you an amazing human being. And your story, regardless of what has happened to you, not saying that I'm trying to devalue it, but regardless of what happened to you, you can share your story or parts of your story with others and shine light on them and remind them that they have a torch too, that they have a fire burning inside of them. So Burning the Box is talking about a lot of the societal standards that everybody puts on us, the boxes that we are put in, you know, immediately when somebody looks at you and you think that they put you in a box. Okay, well, that's your perception of what they think of you. And so my point is to show you that you can be a bold version of yourself and love yourself and walk with a cane. You can be anything that you want to be. If you want to be a unicorn, if you want to be an alien, if you want to be anything that you want. And it's about not conforming and being your own true version authentically. So.
Wonderful. We welcome the unicorns and the aliens.
That we do.
Open arms into this community. Angel, thank you for sharing. Can you remind us again
Thank
where
you.
we can find you?
Absolutely. I am mostly on Instagram at 𝐤𝐴ngel-branding_co. You can find me on any of the other platforms, but Instagram's my fave.
Wonderful. Me too. Me too. We love Instagram. You're getting a lot of love here in the comments, here on the live stream, and also in the green room as well. So lots of love to you, Angel. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for coming in the middle of the night and sharing your story. And
Absolutely.
yeah, big hugs to you. Thanks, Angel.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Angel Dash. I really just wanted to, again, just really say thank you and honor Angel for sharing her story, and Marielle, who came on before Angel, for sharing her story. You know, stories, we are the wisdom keepers as women, right? We traditionally have passed on insights and stories and traditions through the power of storytelling. And sometimes those stories might be really difficult to tell. And maybe you have a story that at the moment you feel is too painful to share. But I want to assure you that you standing in that and feeling into it and having the courage and the bravery to share your story, when you share that, oh my goodness, it just opens the doors for other people to really be able to heal on their journey, and to, you know, like we said it before, to feel that they're not alone. And that is the power of storytelling. And that is what's so wonderful about these showcase events and about the summit that we hold every single year in March. Our podcast, our Women Thrive podcast, our Women Thrive magazine, you know, it's sharing the stories of women. And this is this really is the purpose and the vision from Ramonda Jan, our founder. That is why she created this community. She created these stages to really empower the voices of women. And it just makes me feel very incredibly proud to be able to host this showcase today, and hear these wonderful stories. And of course, I also have a co-host. So I would love to invite back onto the stage Tina. Hi, Tina.
Hello, I'm sitting here in absolute awe and also very teary-eyed. I think we might need to have to put the addition circle to the showcase, because this very much felt like what we talked about earlier, having an actual sharing circle. And I can't wait to see some of those stories actually go onto our pages in the magazine as well, because there is just so much depth to it. And I'm really take my hat off to everybody who had the courage to share from that place, because it touches everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've had our 4 speakers on already, our first 4 speakers. So we've had Dana and Louisa and Marielle and Angel, and all 4 of them have really shared vulnerably from the heart, you know, things that they've had to go through, things that they've had to deal, challenges, limited beliefs, fear, grief. And really, you know, for me, a clear message of resilience. You know, we are resilient. Sometimes we might not think that we are, but actually we are. And, you know, life is painful. You know,
there's also fire we have to go through sometimes.
Of course, yeah. What has been your thoughts about the talk so far?
I love that we framed the word resilience with so many different flavors in a very soft way, because resilience can come across as like that is the word in leadership and it's the all and sundry, but it does come with so many different nuances. And I think the personal experience that was shared from everyone was the one where everybody, I think, has elements that relate to somewhere in our own life or our own story where we can resonate with something. And it doesn't matter, it may not be completely the same story, but I think as women, there's so many similarities that we all, when we listen, and you touched on something beautifully, the storytelling, we are the keepers of the stories. We are the ones who share. And I think that's what makes it, for me, so lovely to just sit and receive the messages, because there's an emotion that gets triggered when I listen to some stories, and then there's some lessons in it as well, and I can look through it in my own lens, and I think that's the beauty of this sharing.
I truly believe that there are things that are kind of like pre-orchestrated and designed for us to be able to work through and alchemize that darkness into light. You know, we all have challenges in our lives, things that we need to overcome, situations that, you know, are really painful and really difficult to deal with. But actually, you can see that also using a different perspective of using it as an opportunity to be able to alchemize that into, you know, a beautiful life lesson. And like so many of our speakers today, to actually turn that into your purpose, to use that as a tool to be able to help other people through. You know, I was thinking about this the other day, and, you know, one of my biggest limiting beliefs and fears and worries that I've had through my life is, you know, the fear of rejection, you know, fear of being rejected by other people, by women in particular. And that really, really held me back early on in my career and also in my business. And I continue to deal with that. You know, I always say new level, new devil. So like whenever I get to that next stage, you know, like I work with more expensive clients, or I raise my prices, or I speak on bigger stages, or, you know, I go and do bigger things. It always raises its head, but now I've got the tools to be able to overcome that. And of course, that's happened now is that I'm able to help other women in my business to be able to help them overcome very often, you know, a fear of rejection that they have already. So I think it's always a really interesting exercise to look at your life and to reflect back and go, okay, what are the challenges that I have? What is it that consistently shows up? And what can I do then to alchemize that into something that I'm then going to be able to use as a tool to help other people through?
I love the fact that Louisa touched on the word shadow. It's one of my favorite things to work with. I teach women how to dance with their shadows, because if we actually allow that shadow work, that the stuff we don't really want to look at, the one that we're avoiding, there lies so much power when we actually bring it up. And you used the word alchemizing, another one of my favorites, is when we own the dark stuff, everything that is maybe not acceptable or we deem not worthy of being put into the light. It is in those really dark parts where we can have our biggest growth. And then the word fear is something, everyone has that. And yeah, you feel the fear, you do it anyway, but fear, that there's a beautiful analogy, and it's called feel everything and rise. I think it's being able to take fear, look at it in the light and go, if I actually look at it this way and that way, maybe it's not so scary. And shadow work is one of the most powerful things that I love taking my clients through. And I think every one of the speakers had a part of their own shadow that they faced and moved through it. And we should be talking about the shadow a lot more. It's not something to be feared or be afraid of. It's where we have the biggest growth if we allow ourselves to go there.
Yeah, because there has to be darkness. There has to be there has to be darkness to be able to have the light, right? So the two work together. And yeah, I agree with you. It's not, you know, sometimes it's kind of like, I think it depends on culture and traditions, you know, like the way that you've been brought up, to approach sharing, you know, oversharing. Have you heard that before? Like that term, you know, like where, oh, she's an oversharer, you know, like how it's crazy.
Yeah. Don't be too much, don't talk too much, and don't share everything. Yeah, I resonate with that.
So yeah, it's important to be able to normalize it and to encourage others to share. And, as Angel was saying, visibility is not just about performance and looking good and rah, rah, rah. And, of course, we want to be able to say the right words and feel good and look good when we're on camera. Of course we do. But actually, this really is about, being able to share a story that is able to transform the life of someone else, and through that storytelling, healing. One of the things that I really love about the magazine is that it must be incredibly healing for our contributors to our magazine to be able to share their story in that way. And I know that you must, you work very closely with the women that contribute to the magazine, and so it's not just an exercise in visibility, it's also a way for these women to be able to heal through the beautiful medium of writing.
It's casting a spell, spelling. There is some power, and yes, we speak about our experiences, but there is something a little different than putting it all in writing and putting it on the page. It's very cathartic, and whether it's an article or a book, it is a beautiful transformation, because it's a bit of a legacy. It's a permanent thing. It's not an Instagram story or a talk. It's in writing, and it still feels really amazing to be able to work with people in that capacity. And yes, there is AI, and there's a lot of the discussion. It's easy, but it's superficial. It can help you proofread perhaps, but don't let that take away from the power you hold inside. I want the true raw story. I don't want pretty and completely perfectly coiffed. I want your story and your voice. So when you do write your articles, I would love what you've shared today to actually be on the page like that. And therein lies power. And there's a really nice feeling when you first hold that story, whether it's an article or a book, to actually see this in print and know that so many women around the world were actually reading you. They're receiving you in your full, imperfect power.
Yeah. I love that, Tina. You say about spelling. Isn't it interesting how we can use words and actually we don't understand what the underlying connotations are to it, like spelling, right? Yeah. Weaving a spell when you're right. I always say like our word is our wands, because I love
absolutely the sword of truth.
Exactly. So we have had many of our wonderful speakers on the front cover of our magazine. Of course, we are very proud of our speakers, so we're sharing our wonderful speakers in our magazine as well. If someone wanted to contribute to the Women Thrive magazine, what would they need to do, Tina?
Very easy. You just go onto womanThriveMagazine.com and go and click on contribute, and there is a beautiful form and a few videos to help you put all of your material through, and then I'll liaise with you to make that happen.
Wonderful. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, we've got some more wonderful speakers that are going to be coming on. Actually, I think we're going to bring our next speaker on in about the next 5 minutes. I just wanted to ask you, Tina, about, you were talking earlier about your experiences, sharing your voice and speaking on the Women Thrive stage. What have you been able to create, in your life and your business as a result of stepping into this opportunity and, telling your story in such a courageous way, not only on stage, but also in your book and in all the magazine articles that you write?
I think the biggest growth that I had was by actually learning to trust my intuition and knowing that I'm not the rainbow unicorn solely out there myself. I found lots of other unicorns and aliens. I think the permission to be myself through this experience and the constant support has given me growth beyond what I would have imagined. When I started this and started going into the first speaker call in little old New Zealand at weird times of the morning, I thought, what have I done? I haven't got anything ready in my head yet. But the more I've participated and trusted that process and the beautiful guidelines along the way, the more I realized I found that voice. I found my kind of branding voice, and the message got a lot clearer. And by the time I got onto the stage, I realized, wow, that was 20 minutes. That's not enough to tell my story. So it turned into an entire book. It's put me on stages. It's going to put me on a TEDx stage in February. And I just am forever grateful for the experience and people cheering me on. I've meet up with people in Dubai recently. I've met with them in Australia, women who came through the community to go, hey, I'm going to be in town. How about we're catching up for coffee? So this is priceless because it is global. And it's a community, it's a lifelong community. That's all I can say about it.
That's fantastic, and congratulations. I didn't realize you got a TEDx talk. That's amazing.
Yes. I know, and it's going to be the same title, Corporate Rewilding. It is about being the wild executive on that stage. So this is another extension of the Thrive Summit, the book, and everything that followed there on after. So anything is possible, and it's exciting.
Oh, Tina, just huge congratulations. I'm so excited. Are you allowed to share with us where it is?
Not yet. It's not official yet. I'm hoping by the time I come back for my travels, I can share it and shout it from the rooftops.
Oh, that's just so amazing. Congratulations. You know, I was sharing with someone the other day about one of our speakers that was on the stage, not this year, the year before. So Carmen,
Yes.
she really wanted to do a TEDx talk, and just didn't have the courage to apply for it. And she's now done 2 TEDx talks. She's got an honorary doctorate. She's just, you know, absolutely like rocking with her speaking career. And it just shows you, you know, you can just say yes to one thing. I swear that so many of our speakers will go, yeah, I'm signing up for a summit. And of course, they'll be really, you know, like they're signing up for a summit. They're really excited. They're going to be in the community. They'll be in the magazine. They'll be in the podcast. And they don't even know yet what that yes then leads on to, you know, the yes.
Exactly. It's an energetic cauldron. It's more than just a summit. And Carmen is one of those people that I have been in touch with because she's also a martial artist. So we kind of connected over karate and black belts. But she was the one who said, keep going, keep applying. And she's been helping me with the courage to actually go after the TEDx talk. So this is what I was talking about with the community. It's beautiful. And I can't wait to see the trajectory of the speakers who are coming through the next summit and see all the different directions that they're going to go into.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that Carmen's been like guiding you through that, because she had real tenacity when she was applying for TEDx talk. So it's just so great to see. And also just a really great example also of the power of community. You know, I always say that when you join Women Thrive, you never leave, not like in a weird kidnap situation.
No, you do stay in there. It's a family for life.
It is a family. It's a family for life. And, you know, seriously, I would just encourage anyone in the community or anyone that's watching, you know, if you see anyone that is speaking on our stage, or you read someone's article in a magazine or one of the books, and they inspire you, please reach out to them, you know, connect with them. You just never know where those relationships are going to lead. You never know where those connections are going to take you. We have so many examples in our community. Tina, I know that you've experienced this yourself, of women collaborating together, connecting with one another. We had one of our speakers from this year, Charlie Garman. She's based here in the UK, and she's going on vacation. She's going on holiday with the speakers that were in her Thrive Pod, her smaller community within the group.
Amazing.
We've got actually Neo, who's on the front cover of our magazine this month, and 𝐏𝐨𝐿, who has also been on the front cover of our magazine and has spoken on our summit stage twice. These two powerhouses are putting a retreat together at the end of the year. Like, it's just amazing. Like, these are women that might not have necessarily connected in day-to-day life, and they've come together from the community, and then they've been able to create amazing things together that not only grow their business but also are to be in service to other, to their clients and to other women in this community. So it's just wonderful to hear your story, Tina, and congratulations on everything that you have created. It's just amazing.
I call it the Thrive Effect.
Thrive Effect.
It's not, you heard it here first, that is an actual thing.
Have we got hashtag for that? We need to create a hashtag.
We might need to add it. I've written about it in the latest edition, but yeah, a Thrive Effect is a definite thing.
I think I'm definitely going to catch on. Right, we're going to be using that all the time.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to bring you. We'll bring you back on at the end. We're going to move on to our last two speakers now. But again, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. I know that you're traveling, and it's just been wonderful to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. It's nice to be in the same time zone for a change.
It's amazing to
be the opposite sides. So I feel for Louisa because we're a day ahead and in a different timing. So
I know I always say to the speakers, to the Australian-based speakers, when we're on the calls, I'm like, "What's it like in the future?" Because they're all living you're normally living in the future.
Yes, I'm now going back to the past, literally.
Thanks, Tina. Thank you. We'll speak to you just before we finish our showcase. So if you feel inspired to contribute to the Women Thrive magazine, then make your way over to womenthrivemagazine.com. That is womenthrivemagazine.com, and you will see that there is a link on there to become a contributor. There are all the guidelines on there. We're not massive fans of AI in the magazine, so we would love for you to write your article in your own words, as Tina was just mentioning there, spelling, weaving the spell and sharing your story and being able to inspire others. So we have two more amazing and very, very inspirational speakers that are going to be coming up next. And we are coming back right here to the UK, but a completely different and very, very beautiful part of the UK from where I am, and a wonderful country in its own right, wonderful Scotland. So we are heading over to Scotland, and I am very, very excited to invite on our next speaker. Her name is 𝐿 Boyle. She is the founder and CEO of Fortro, a sales and revenue architect known for ripping up the old playbook on how women do sales and revenue generation. She is the person that founders call when the numbers don't match the brilliance of their work. Brilliant. When revenue feels wobbly, or when they're ready to scale with systems that hold under pressure. One of my favorite subjects to talk about: revenue, money energy. 𝐿, it's so wonderful to have you here. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for that lovely intro. And I was listening to you and Tina talk, and I haven't been part of the Thrive community for too long, but I have to say I'm already feeling amazing. The love, the lifting, the camaraderie, the whole kind of, it really is something beautiful when a bunch of women come together and go, "Come on, we can do this."
It really is. And it's so wonderful to have you here as well. I know that this is your first showcase. I'm so excited to hear you speak. And, this is a subject that's so important to us as women, we need to be empowered around money. And you're the person that's going to help us to do that. So over to you. And then I'll be back after your talk and we can have a little chat. Oh.
Every major global report says it, doesn't it? Women are the key to economic growth, but yet the revenue gap really yawns quite wide. We're launching more businesses than ever. We're delivering amazing world-class work, but still that gap remains. Now, I know and you know that it's not capability, and it's certainly not the delivery. What it is that we're actually following rules of commerce that were never designed for the women in business today. I don't even just mean for women. I mean the kind of women that we are working with today, the strong, single-minded, the really, you know, even those that are worrying about what they can and can't do, it's not built for them. So if you're feeling like a square peg in a round hole, I'm going to say great, because the answer to closing that revenue gap lies between the gaps and the gaps. We don't fit in because, you know what, we were actually meant to redesign the room. And I've always felt like a square peg in a round hole. You know, what you see today is definitely not what came out the packaging. And maybe you do too, and maybe you have done too. And the rules of business, of selling, of success, they were written long before women like us entered the room. And once I realized it actually served me brilliantly. It was really liberating. So for example, I began my career as an educator, because I believed that knowledge should liberate, not limit. It should disrupt. But you know what? That approach really wins applause, but it's what drives me. Years later, I walked away from a marriage, a mortgage, a perfectly safe career to start again, because the life that looked really good on paper didn't fit in practice. And it led me to launching and creating an international events business. And then when 2020 came around, I do feel like we have to mention it because it was such a pivotal moment for a lot of people. I launched Fortro just before the world shut down. And every founder that I was working with that year was panicking, and pipelines froze overnight. But what I saw in that chaos was a pattern. That business leaders were not failing at selling. They were operating within systems that weren't designed for them, and certainly were not designed for the world that we find ourselves in. So what I did was I rebuilt it. I stripped out all the hustle, and I added some structure, and I brought back presence. And guess what? They then created businesses that held their revenue, that started to close the gap a bit. They had clients saying yes more. Founders were finally able to breathe again. And that's when I realized that the revenue gap is not a skill issue, it's a design issue. And the women that have never felt quite right in those round holes, they're definitely square pegs, are exactly the ones who are going to redesign what comes next. And that became the foundation and the driver of how I engage with any founder, particularly the women. And it puts me in rooms that I would never, ever have had the nerve to walk into. So I guess what I'm saying to people is, have a think about it yourself. How are you contorting yourself? You're contorting your brilliance to fit into a revenue framework that really jars. And what's secret is it laying bare that puts you in front and at the front of your industry to meet your market where it is today. Because the biggest myth that I dismantle every single day is that commerce has to be done in a particular way. The moment you stop contorting yourself, that's when you start to close that revenue gap and you smash through the ceilings of your revenue. And I'm not talking about just money in the bank. I'm talking about your confidence and the consistency of who you are and the congruence with your market. And that is something that just cannot be shaken. And something really special, and I mentioned it earlier, was when women come together. Imagine what we could do when we decide that we're going to change the game. So, if any of this has struck a chord, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Tell me more about yourself. You can find me. It's Aileen Boyle. Company is Fortro Limited. You should find me quite easily. And then come and join me at the Women Thrive Summit, because I'm going to talk about money. We talked about it. You and Tina were talking about that. We're going to talk about how we close that revenue gap and how we, the women, are going to be changing that game of the flawed design. We're going to be dismantling those old rules. I'm going to show you how my clients are rewriting the new ones and how they're building the frameworks that are shifting for them to help them meet the market where they are today. It's going to feel a little bit like you're in the room with, I'd like to think you're going to feel like you're in the room with a feel of Lydia Fennett, of Brené Brown, Michelle Obama, but on a Scottish hillside with maybe a glass of something cold, but remember your clipboard. So, thanks for this opportunity just to quickly share, what's something really important to me. And I really hope to see a lot of people in March. I think the Women Thrive Summit is just going to be so phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aileen. Just bravo, bravo, bravo. taking the shame out of speaking about money.
Yes.
Heaven forbid we speak about money.
I know. And I'm of an age where I was absolutely raised that way. You know, money was the root of all evil, and people say, oh, money goes to money, but money does go to money, but in a positive way. If you're open to it, it's going to come to you. It's when you're like, oh no, it's the shameful thing that it, you know, that's it, it's just, oh yes. We could talk hours, couldn't we?
We could. I always say, Aileen, that money amplifies who you are.
Yes.
So, you know, money doesn't make you evil. If you're evil, you're going to be evil if you're poor, or you're going to be evil if you're rich.
Yes.
So,
I
you know,
agree.
if you're good, then you might as well be good if you're rich and not poor.
Well, think of all the good that you can do. That's the thing. You know, it suddenly opens doors to you that you didn't have before. You can actually start to contribute to those charities that you want. You can start to run those projects that you always wanted to. And you don't have to shout about it either. It really is for you. And it just gives you such a sense of well-being and liberation that you can do all the things that you would like to do.
Yeah, I really love that. Just to reframe it so powerfully. It's so simple, isn't it? To be like, okay, I want to channel this money through so that I can then share it with others, and, you know, think of all those exciting things that you can do with that money, you know, to be able to treat your relatives, to be able to treat your loved ones, to give back, to be able to support charitable causes that mean so much to you. You know, there's so many things that you can do with it. So I love that we're starting the conversation. It's wonderful to have you here on the showcase. I hope that we get to see you every month leading up to the summit. And can you remind us again where we can find you and get to know you better on socials and website, etc.?
Sure. So I'm on LinkedIn. So let me just, you know, like what you're looking for, and I'm going to read it out, is Aileen Boyle sales strategist consultant. It's a bit of a mouthful. You'll know it's me because it's my banner is The Art of Connecting and the Science of Selling. I am on Facebook. I have a personal page, I have a business page. The personal one is the best one to get me. I do have an Instagram account, but do you know what? I'm learning about it because I haven't quite figured out how it works. But LinkedIn is absolutely the best way to get me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aileen. It's been wonderful to have you, and we're looking forward to your talk on the stage next year. And thank you. Have an amazing day. Okay. Oh, the sun is coming up and sunny Brighton today. I am very, very excited to introduce our very, very last speaker. So please stay around because, again, we are going over to the US. She is getting up super, super early to come and hang out with us and share her brilliance with us. Her name is Emily Jackson. She is a sales professional, a speaker, a coach, an author, and podcast guest. As an experienced conqueror over self-doubt, anxiety, and confusion, Emily helps women discover their path and their purpose in life through self-reflection, goal planning, and confidence building. Her Switch Up and Step Up talk and coaching program takes you through her story of feeling lost at different stages of her career path and how she discovered practical guides to find not only her dream industry, but also to find her true self. Emily, welcome. It's wonderful to have you here.
Hello, good morning or afternoon or evening. I was thinking before jumping on this call, I don't know if I've ever done my makeup at 4 a.m. before, but hey, today was the day for that.
Hey, Emily, you are rocking the I'm getting up really early look.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So again, thank you so much for joining us so early. It's so wonderful to see you here. And I'm going to hand over the stage to you, and then I'll come on and have a chat afterwards.
Wonderful. Thank you, Abigail. All right. So, you know, something I've really been thinking a lot about recently is how my failures or trials or difficult seasons in my life have actually kind of turned around to my best successes. And that really relates to career transition, being successful in career transition, and then also personal development. And what I want you to start thinking about today is times where you've failed or had a trial or a difficult season and how you bred success from that. And if you're thinking, oh yeah, I've had plenty of failures and trials, but I really can't think of successes, I bet you can. If you really think about it, I guarantee there's plenty and plenty of examples in your life where you've done that. And I know for me, the biggest successes in my life that I'm most proud of are from my biggest trials or seasons of difficulty. So I want to give you some examples of those just so that can get your wheels turning about what that might look like for your life. So for me, one of the examples would be in my early career. I was in the fitness industry and I started to have a lot of panic attacks and anxiety and just really struggling financially as well. And just all of these things kind of combined made me, or really forced me, to tune into my goals and my vision and start to switch up my mindset to think about, okay, self-discovery. Who am I? What do I want to be doing in the next 5 to 10 years? What are my values? What are my goals? So that really forced me to start thinking into that, and then got me into a new career that I really valued. Another example is during the COVID pandemic, I unfortunately lost my job, as many of us did. And I was without a job for about 4.5 months. I was very angry. I was very confused. I had a lot of self-doubt during that time, as you can imagine. But again, it forced me to reevaluate. I was able to reset. I realized that I was putting value on the wrong things in my life. And so that gave me the opportunity to come to that realization. And then I was again able to have a little self-reflection and discover what the new vision, the new goals, the new pathway would be for me. And I ended up stepping into a new industry, completely different. And I'm still in that industry, the tech field, and I absolutely love it. And so that led to something greater. And then in my personal life, I have the last year or so been experiencing pregnancy loss and difficulty conceiving. And while that's been very, very difficult, it has bred a success in the sense of it made me realize, talking to other women about this, that it's so prevalent and there's so many women out there that experience the same thing. And I just had this like aha moment of I've got to talk about it and I've got to share this experience with other women so that they know that they're not alone. And they know that their feelings are valid, they're heard, they're seen. And that's just honestly completely changed my life, making that decision. And honestly, very much led me to the Women Thrive team as well. So here's a couple of things I want you to think about. And here's what I know in the benefits of the trials, failures, and difficult seasons in our lives. So one, trials breed opportunities, as I've talked about. They're going to make you more self-aware. They're going to force introspection in your life and give you time to step back and basically force you to step back, which is a positive thing because you can reevaluate where you want to go next. It also builds adversity. It's going to make you an artist of the pivot, right? So you're going to know how to deal with change and how to manage that, which of course is a resume builder. It's also going to increase your empathy. So that's going to make you a better leader, whether it's you're leading yourself, your community, your employees, or even your family. And then what I always find is that success is more meaningful when it's well fought. For me, those biggest trials, like I talked about with, pregnancy loss and difficulty conceiving, absolutely the biggest trial I've had in my life. But I am so proud of where I've came from out of that. And I know that you will be too if you really think about some of those trials that you've bred success from. So overall, how does this relate to career transition? So when you go through and think about those trials, the difficulties, the failures that you've actually bred success from, that's important in the career transition conversation, because if you've done that or can think about that as you're jumping into a new career, you're no longer going to be afraid to fail. You've done that. You've been there and you made it through. You were actually better from it. So you can do it again if you've done it once, right? You're going to be bold and confident in your decision making, whether it's a new career, a new role, or whatever that may be. And you're going to be understanding of the steps to take to switch up your failure into a success. So if you're ready for your next step in your career, I'd love for you to tune in to my Switch Up and Step Up talk during the Women Thrive Summit in March 2026. Would love to talk to you more about how you can be your best self in your career transition and continue to breed success from failures, trials, and difficult periods. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Emily. Again, I just want to honor your courage, speaking about, very difficult personal situations that you're going through, but then really standing in your leadership and role modeling what it looks like to change the perspective on things and change the narrative on things. You were speaking there about, the pregnancies and your job, and where you can see situations and opportunities very often in very, very difficult situations. What I really loved about what you were talking about, I always love everything that you talk about, by the way. But you were talking about difficult seasons. And I think that that's really important to be able to reiterate, because very often when we can go through very challenging, very emotional, scary times, we can often feel that it's never going to end. Like, is this my life forever? And actually it's to understand that there are seasons in our lives, and sometimes the seasons are wonderful and joyful and going the way that we want to, and sometimes they're quite not so much, but this too shall pass.
Absolutely.
Right? One of the things that you teach.
Yeah. And, just going back to kind of, my pregnancy loss and difficulty conceiving, that I'm still in that season. I'm still working towards, being able to conceive. And that's still something my husband and I are working towards. And so I'm very much in that season. But at the same time, I know from what I've already experienced that I can have a positive outcome from that, regardless of what the outcome is. I know that intrapersonally, I know who I am from this scenario. I know what the value of sharing my story with others is. And because I've shared my story, I can't tell you how many people have shared theirs with me. So I really, really know that I'm not alone. And I think that's what's so important and valuable for, communities like this, or bringing women together, is just the sense of, you're not alone in what you're experiencing. We all have unique experiences, but we also have a lot of similarities. And that's just so valuable in your confidence and your strength as you go through different seasons of difficulty in life.
Yeah, so insightful, Emily. That you know that about yourself, and that you can experience it, you can feel the feels, and no doubt, it must feel very difficult at times, but then to actually be able to have those real valuable insights is just wonderful to hear. So, we love you, we value you as a member of the Women Thrive community. We're so excited that you're going to be speaking on our stage. And as always, we hold a big space for you as you're going through this season of life.
Oh, thank you so much.
And Emily, thank you so much for getting up so early and absolutely rocking that outfit. Can I just say, it's very 1970s and very, very iconic.
Hired by you. You always are an amazing dresser. So, I got to keep up somehow. So
let's keep that movement going. Emily, again, where can we find you?
So I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. So that's probably the best place to reach me. So Emily Jackson on LinkedIn. And from there, you can find my website as well, A+ Women. So I'm on there. I'm also on Facebook and pretty active on that as well. But yeah, LinkedIn is really, I'm always on there. So definitely reach out. I would love to, start conversations with you. So please do reach out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you for getting up super, super early and sharing your brilliance, and enjoy the rest of your very long day. I hope you get a nap later.
Yes, I plan on it for sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Emily. Okay, and Emily was our final speaker. Please make sure you go and connect with Emily on socials, especially her LinkedIn. You can go and connect with her there. We are going to be closing out the showcase in a few minutes' time, but I would love to invite back onto the stage my fantastic co-host, Tina K. 𝐤𝐬. Oh, I've just removed her. There she is. Hi.
I'm back.
She's gone.
I think I'm going to have FOMO that I can't be live on these things the next time because I'll be in the middle of the night again. I might have to get up too and follow Emily's example.
Yeah, absolutely. Get up in the middle of the night. Honestly, it's the way forward. It really is.
Yeah.
Who needs sleep?
a very amazing showcase, I have to say. The last one hit home because Emily has touched on something I've been through, and please keep sharing your story, because I can tell you from my experience, I felt I was completely alone in this, and the more I shared, the more I found others who have experienced it. So it's very close to home for me, and I can't wait to hear more of you and have you on the stage and with everybody that shared today. I'm getting really excited for the summit.
I know. We say this every single year.
I know, but yeah, it's
honestly, aren't they amazing? That
Yeah.
we've got such a wonderful, real tribe of speakers for next year. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. And Tina, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and, being in the spare bedroom. I feel like you're a Tina. You've got a t-shirt with Rebel on.
You think you're coming here and the internet is fine. And I've got my brother-in-law on home office and, 2 teenagers on school holidays. So I didn't expect the internet to be an issue, but never mind. The next time I'll come back from the studio and might be in the middle of the night.
Well, we really appreciate having you on. Thank you so much for coming on for the conversation. And, I just want to invite everyone on to continue the conversation. We might have this conversation here when we're on live, but continue the conversation, carry it on, continue to share your stories in your community, with your family, with your friends, with your clients. It's so important to be able to do that. And Tina, thank you so much. Sending you lots of love all the way over to Germany.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And we're going to be back this evening, well, my time this evening. So I'm going to be back hosting, it's 11:11 here, by the way. I'm going to be back hosting our second showcase this evening, where the majority of our speakers are going to be based in the States, and it's not going to be in the middle of the night for them. And so that's going to be happening at 7 p.m. UK time. So that's going to be 2 p.m. EST if anyone is watching at the moment in the States. We will see you there, or I will see you there on the next showcase. I'm going to be hosting that on my own with some amazing speakers. Thank you so much for the Women Thrive tech team for your loving support all the way through this. We love you and appreciate you. Thank you to our amazing speakers, and we will see you very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.